Welcome everyone to an exciting discussion on L'Oreal's data-driven direct-to-consumer transformation. My name is Swati Sinha. I'm a Senior Director of Products Industry Marketing at Reltio. Joining me is Sri Sheshan, Director of IT Digital Data Management and Strategy at L'Oreal. Sri is responsible for data management and strategy for customer data platform that L'Oreal is building to enabling the data-driven marketing. Sri also partners with the CMO to strategize and implement the transversal initiatives and help them realize the ROI from customer data. Thank you for joining us, Sri.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So COVID-19 has pushed companies to direct-to-consumer journey. But L'Oreal had already started this journey in 2017. And you have been the key member to drive this initiative. So tell us, what were the key reasons at that time that L'Oreal decided to go with direct-to-consumer transformation?
So Swati, as you know, right, as you rightly said, we started our journey with the digital data transformation way back a few years ago. When we started off our journey, our primary requirement was it was meant to be for the marketing folks. We wanted to build a platform wherein the marketing could have better access to the data, and they will be able to understand the consumer better, understand the consumer buying behaviors, buying patterns, and so on and so forth, and be able to have a very specific, focused, data-driven marketing, as the name of our hub suggests. So that was our intent, to basically be able to target a segment our customers better, know their needs better, know their purchasing patterns better, and be able to target them in an effective way. So that is kind of a primary motivator, a primary idea of how we wanted to, go about this. While we went, with that motive or with that, thought process, we also realized that, omni-channel is a big need for us, given the fact that, we are present on e-commerce and we are also present on stores. So that was another main need that we wanted to basically bake into this platform. So we put together that, this concept as well, to be able to enable our customers and have them make sure that they have a consistent experience across the different platforms and channels that they talk to us. So those were some of our critical elements in how we wanted to, our motivators for building this hub. Back in 2017, obviously there was no CCPA, but then also we're able to, lucky enough to leverage this platform for the legal, the data privacy rules and the regulations that came up later. This hub proved us to be quite helpful in that purposes as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a big transformation, right? And it impacts the overall business strategy. So for the organizations that are starting now, can you share how did you start and what were some of the key things that you considered at that time?
Like I said, some of the ones that we spoke about already, but there were a few other things as well, right? So putting together a platform of this nature needs, number one, a vision, and that vision to us was marketing needs. But then how do you put that vision into perspective, right? And that's where, there were a few things that we needed to kind of think through to be able to put this together. One of the things is obviously we wanted to have a single place, we wanted to a single store where you can house the entire customer view, like a consumer 360, which is a very common terminology that we use right now. So we wanted to have that consumer 360 view to begin with. That's your step one. And obviously, L'Oreal being a very, it's been a reputed company and we've been here for long in the space, there's a lot of different ways in how the data has been siloed over the years. Every brand, we have 30, 35 odd plus brands in our ecosystem. Every brand had their own way of how they do their business, how do they store the data, how do they consume that data. So there's been a lot of fragmented information and data lying around. So that was another thing that we wanted to kind of resolve, to be able to have in terms of a system rationalization, right? So we wanted to have it in all one single place. Then we spoke about omni-channel as how important that is for business, for our business, like the L'Oreal business. The last but not the least, obviously, the vision is great, the process is great, but you need to have the right tools in place to be able to support that. Reltio has been a great partner, and Reltio really helped us in putting together, Reltio is one of our critical components in our whole CDP platform, which needed to be we were onboarding ourselves into a multi-cloud architecture. So we wanted to be able to have a tool that can support that. We wanted to be able to have a tool or a technology to be able to support multi-cloud architecture, should be able to handle the volume that we're talking about. We wanted performance, we wanted agility. So there's a lot of these good things that we wanted to put in place, and that's how we kind of went about this journey of how these are all the things that we needed, and worked on that.
So, you know what? I have heard you talking about how data is the biggest asset, and you just mentioned that again for organization, and it is the most underutilized tool, right? So, what would you say when you just mentioned about data? That what was the importance of data in this transformation, and how did you start thinking about the whole overall data strategy when we were designing this transformation?
Glad you re-emphasized it again, and I'm going to re-emphasize it one more time, right? Data is the most important asset,
Yeah.
right? That is definitely the most important asset. Um, See, here's my thoughts, right? I think,
Yeah.
you need to have a good vision is definitely important. A long-term, futuristic view is great. But I think, you can't get there, right? You gotta have to step into day one first. And to me, day one is let's just say it as a short-term goal. So start defining your short-term goals while still having your vision and your business goals and everything as a futuristic long-term state. So in that sense, building or knowing your data is going to be the most critical element, right? So analytics, all the great AL and the machine learning and all the good stuff comes in later, and I'm sure we will probably get time to talk about that. But what's important is to be able to understand your data and also understand where your data resides, like all of the different silos where the data resides, identify all of those different data crumbs and be able to put it together. So understand your holistic view of customers and then go about that. What it also helps you while doing that is you will be able to understand all the different touch points and how your customer talks to you. And you will also be able to really put together a holistic consumer journey of how a person transforms from being a prospect to a customer, and to become like a loyalty member. So that's kind of, those are some of the critical elements, in my opinion, that, somebody who's doing it now should look at.
Yeah, yeah. And so, how is this data? I'm sure that as you mentioned, the data was in the silos, and now you got it together. So, how is this data powering your different functions across your
Well,
market technology stack? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's I would say it's a very big component for that, right? I mean, like we spoke about that, marketing is one huge area which basically uses our sites. It's basically while doing these things, we basically were able to capture a lot of insights, and that helps us to have consistent experiences. Now our application is being leveraged by all the marketing folks. It's being leveraged by the CCPA or the legal teams. Media team is using it, and then there's a lot of these brands wanting to do some quick tests, maybe small projects before they start venturing into the big projects. It's a one-stop shop for all, where people could come and get all of the necessary details that they are looking for, to either for their senior leadership purposes, or even for subsequent funding requests, and so on and so forth. So that's how this is not just becoming like a one store, but it's proving to be a store for the organization, a data store for the organization.
That's wonderful. So, when you were selecting this customer data platform, right? What were some of the must-have criteria which you had in mind when you decided on this one?
Um, so when we were looking at this, right, I think one thing we did anticipate is about the volume that we were going to get, and with that volume, we wanted to be on cloud for the natural purposes, be it being able to access the data from anywhere, agility or speed or flexibility, and so on and so forth. So that was our multi-cloud was one of our primary requirements, and we also wanted to embark on a SaaS-based model, so that we really are leveraging the tool as effectively as we possibly can, which can blend in with other tools that we have within the CDP platform. So it was almost like a no-brainer at that point of time for us to go after like a product like Reltio. Like I said, Reltio is our critical element within the larger CDP platform that we use, but it's like a most critical element in there. So it became like a natural choice for us to go that way. And it was also the ease of integrating with the multiple different tech stack that is lying around in our CDP platform. And as you can imagine, user experience is a big thing, not just for our external customers, but also for our internal customers, right? In that sense, the user adoption, that was also a critical element that we were looking at when we're trying to finalize a product of choice. And like I said, so far we've been happy with our choices.
So it's really fascinating that the how L'Oreal is really disrupting the beauty industry. So what are some of the positive business outcomes you have seen because of this full transformation?
Yeah. So the natural KPI rather is like, the new
Yeah.
customers or like the customer acquisition, right? So that's number one. And we also look at like, a typical inactive to active customers ratio as to how well or how effectively we are able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and the next thing that we were able to do with like, obviously this whole data hub thing is, and this is quite popular within our business folks in L'Oreal, is like, we tend to come up with like, what we call it as a cross brand map,
Mm-hmm.
where we identify the customers that exist across multiple brands. And this provides an insight to also not just the particular brand, but also like the multiple brands who might be serving the same products, in terms of what those behaviors are, what those buying
Mm-hmm.
patterns are. So they are able to understand, like, what this person is present across 10 of our brands. He's purchasing from 10 different brands. So that was like, a major motivator for our brands to understand where their customers are shopping these days and how is their
Mm-hmm.
behavior, how is their buying patterns influence or help cross-sell or upsell their
Mm-hmm.
products. So that's one of the key indicators. For the last couple of years, a significant amount of effort has been put into in terms of rich data collection, and rich data to us basically mean beauty data. Thanks to our
Mm-hmm.
acquisition from people like Modiface, our virtual try-ons, our consultation tools on all of the pretty much all the brands on their sites, we are able to capture much more rich data from our consumers, and that is also associated with the consumer profile, which again
Mm-hmm.
helps us in terms of customer segmentation, like being able to suggest the right amount of products that we think might work for them, their their behaviors, their like again, there is a thin line of how much of privacy, and obviously we've got a great legal
Yeah.
team who supports us in along the way, but within that, what we are allowed to do with the amount of rich data that we collect, we are able to really have like a significant amount of growth, and we are able to see a lot of positive outcomes of being able to do those things. So these are some of the KPIs, how the business are
Mm-hmm.
evaluating the success, or like how they're leveraging the data.
Okay, good to know. So, when you're talking about the rich data collection, are there any like internal KPIs you have seen that you have seen more profiles getting enriched with this data, or any other KPIs you have seen from?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we have, and thanks to that, again, like we were able to. What we have done is like
Yeah.
this consultations tools have been there forever, right? Obviously, we have
Yeah.
been doing
Yeah.
foundation finders, we've been doing consultation tools, but what we have not been doing before is about the consistent capture of data. The data is like for a simple example, black could be spelled as BLACK
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
BLK, right?
Yeah.
So that consistency has also been, we've been able to bring that consistency, do the translation using wealthy RDM capabilities, and that
Yeah.
has basically presented us with like much more uh, consistent information available associated with the consumer profile, which helps us to activate upon them better. So that is a metric that we significantly track and helps
Mm-hmm.
the to basically, that has helped the business to come up with more of those foundation finders, come up with more of those
Mm-hmm.
virtual try-on kind of mechanisms, AL tools. So
Yeah.
that has helped us gain more insights about the customer, and has also helped in our sales and profit.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure how the rich data is, how good quality data is, that always result into better decisions, right, in the businesses. So
Absolutely
yes,
right.
definitely, yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the current market scenario, right? L'Oreal already had this transformation; they already had it. So when the COVID-19 hit, were there any new challenges, or was it easy to navigate through it?
So apart from the generic challenge of COVID-19 that we all
Yeah,
witnessed, I
yeah,
would say, like,
yeah,
from a technology perspective, we have been on slightly ahead of the game, probably. I
yeah,
mean, so
yeah,
I think
yeah,
um, we were able to, it was a relatively easier transition into all of our
yeah.
new projects that we wanted to roll out. And it has also been like a state wherein, like, like for instance, I said about this earlier, right? If we were to expand our projects, or like create some new projects, the very
Mm-hmm.
first the marketers do is like they want to just see take a dump of the existing data and take a look at what is it like. They profile the data, and
Yeah,
we give them a sense of what this is probably what's missing. And if
yeah,
you were to do project 1, 2, 3, then we see potentially this problem could be mitigated, or like you probably
yeah,
could do something about this problem, or like lack of data, or like
yeah,
what can you improve upon.
yeah,
So number one, right there, to be able to having immediate access to the data is a huge help for us,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
help is by naturally, like, helped us transition into new projects and be able to take some quicker decisions in much more quicker amount of time. So in that sense, we've rolled out a few projects in terms of teleconsultation, and like, we've been able to, that's scaling the digital channels. Our presence in e-com has also been pretty good, but these combination of things has helped us to basically take some quicker decisions and adopt new projects. And again, that's one of the reasons why we had to pick up a tool that is scalable for us in future. And then, like I said, I mean, it probably is a good decision of what we've done with our ecosystem and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what? We have been hearing with all of our customers who have been like ahead, like visionaries like you guys, data innovators, I call them. They all were really easy because the scalable technology is what is required for being responsive in these times. So that was really good to hear that L'Oreal also had a similar experience.
Yeah.
So we are coming to the end of the session. So what will be your parting thoughts for the audiences?
I think, the way I mean, thank you for such great questions. And I think, you've kind of lined it up in a way that I could summarize my key takeaways with all pretty much like, everything that we've spoken of so far, right? My first and foremost thing, and I keep repeating this in multiple different forums, and I'm going to continue doing that. Data is a biggest asset, right? And do not start with, I mean, I wouldn't recommend starting directly into having analytics and like, on the great stuff. Analytics is where we need to be, but let's focus on what you've got right now, understand what you've got, make sense of what all information you have. There might be, at least in an organization like L'Oreal, we did not know of some of the data residing in some places. So we had to literally, like, when we put together the effort to put it all together is when it made sense to us as of how much of data do we really know about our consumers, and what is it that we really need to additionally get to know about them. So building that, I mean, understanding your data is one really, really important component, and to me, that's the foundation. The next thing is like, yes, while you're working along the way, have a very clear picture of what is it that you're eventually wanting to get out of this hub, right? When we're talking about digital transformation, let's speak in English in terms of what that digital transformation truly means, and where is it that you'd like to see yourself in a year or 2 or 3. Big bang approach, in my personal experience, has not been very successful, and I would say, we've got to take baby steps. Baby steps could be in any different ways, right? I mean, obviously, every company has to have their own definition of what that baby steps mean. It's always like, another philosophy that we follow in L'Oreal is crawl, walk, and run, right? We always start crawling first and then walk and then run. So that's the second thing. The third thing is when you are putting together a foundation of this nature, of this magnitude, keep in mind that today your needs might be like, let's just say 20%, but then eventually you need to scale up to 100 or 150%. So think about the scalability aspect of it, right? I mean, because that's going to be critical, right? Don't take a decision based on your requirements today, but think about what you would need to do in 3 to 5 years down the line. Pick the right tools. I guess obviously that goes without saying. That is fitting your ecosystem. For us, Reltio was helpful when in the larger scheme of things, and that works for us. You got to make your own choice of what is it that makes sense, looking at the pros and cons of every single tool out there. And the last thing is, this kind of goes with the big picture part of it. How are you going to measure your success? Right, the success measurement is going to be a very critical element, in my opinion, and that is going to, ensure that you've got that ongoing tough decisions of finance and all those things, make it relatively easier. So that is kind of few of the things that comes to my mind, and I also want to add one more thing to this is like, I know you said I was a key member, but I would say, it takes a village to build something like this, right? Thankfully, I had some great marketing teams, great brands, great legal teams, great technical supports, global teams. There's been a significant amount of people, and that has helped us to get to where we are. We still have a lot of distance to cover, but I think, in my opinion, I think these are some of the things that I would probably summarize it as very important things that the team who is interested in listening to my talk today could take away from this.
And definitely, you touch a very good thing. I mean, it's a very important point. These whole transformations generally, because it's across for the whole organization, so it has to come with all the stakeholders. So yes, I completely agree. It takes the whole team and the whole organization to come together. I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. Now let's move to our next session and let's take some audience questions. So Shri, there's a first question there. Can you give examples of rich data you have collected, and what surprising and non-intuitive insights that were revealed as a result?
Sure, Swati. I think rich data is actually a very common terminology potentially, and I can understand the question from where it comes, right? So I think to us, from a beauty industry, our rich data has multiple flavors. We've kind of categorized as to what all qualifies rich data. And one thing is, or the most significant thing is actually the beauty data. For instance, be it our hat tone color, be it your skin color, be it your hair color. So those are some of the examples of some of the rich data that we classify as such. And we basically wanted to go after them to be able to put together a stronger beauty profile of for our customers. So those are kind of, at least it should give you a good sense of what a beauty rich data should be. Now, surprising insights. I think, the more, one common element I would say is we did observe, from some of our quizzes, potentially people weren't, our foundation or consultation tools, people were not giving us enough information, but we were receiving more information from our general ratings and reviews, right? So that is one surprising insight that I could think of the top of our head. The point goes back to what we were talking, what we spoke earlier is about we need to know where our data resides. And one of the surprise elements was our data resided in ratings and reviews, or beauty data or rich data resided there that we are trying to tap into right now.
Yeah, that's good to know. So the next one is, what is one of the biggest learning you had on this journey?
Swati, I lost you there for a second.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is one of the biggest learning you had on this journey?
Okay. Okay. So one biggest learning, in my opinion, I think there's a lot. I would say, don't walk in thinking this is going to be easy. If I to make it simplified, just don't walk in thinking it's easy. But not to discourage, but I will definitely say, if you have the right people, right tools, right vision, it is definitely achievable. We did not anticipate this to be easy, so I think we were smart in that regard. But we were also prepared to need it, and with great teams working with us, my colleagues and extended teams, think we were able to manage it with the right process.
Yeah, and just hearing you out what you shared, I think maybe that's because you did the whole blue plan, kind of a long-term, short-term, maybe that just helps you looking into it, proactively, that what are the challenges and making sure that you are marking. So the next one is, so you mentioned about having a CDP solution. So was it in addition to Reltio, or how does Reltio enable the CDP? If you can touch upon that.
Yeah. I know this is a very common theme across, right? Reltio we're not using Reltio as a CDP platform, right? So we are using Reltio for mastering. Basically, Reltio is being used as an MDM tool, which sits on the data hub. And the data hub has multiple different components, which is for MDM, we have this, Reltio, for other purposes, be it for reporting, for analytics, for marketing, for campaigning, for campaign management. So we've got several other tools that basically has a specific function. So the way we look at it is yes, I commonly refer to it as the CDP, but within L'Oreal, we call it only as DDM, which is the Data Driven Marketing Hub. So most commonly referred to as the hub, multiple different ways. So the way I look at it is I think, it depends on, these days I do see a lot of these CDP platforms coming up with their own mastering capabilities.
Yeah.
But again, we've also seen some limitations in those, right? I think it depends on how do you want to really look at it. Are you looking at MDM as a standalone function for many different functions within the organizations? Or are you looking at mastering as just one small element that you want to, or rather than saying mastering, if you want to just get rid of the duplicates or dedupe within many other CDP platforms. So I don't think there's a right wrong answer to it, and I don't think it can be something that can be summarized. It's more of you got to understand what these two really mean, and then put in perspective what makes more sense for you.
Yeah, and just wanted to add, there a lot of our customers are way there, and I think you also mentioned that you use Reltio more as a data platform, which can go and feed in data to different applications. That's how we have also seen other customers who are using it, and in fact all CDP also, so they feed data to CDP. So that's what we're saying. So the next question is, maybe I can take this one, and then if you want, you can add to it. Customer attributes and data sources keep on changing with time. How easy it is to make changes in Reltio. So let me so there are two parts to the answer. First, the value of attributes like opt-in and opt-out. So these can be done immediately by the business users via APIs or via formal workflow process. The second part is adding the actual attributes or the fields. So like, for example, if L'Oreal decides to launch a colored contact lenses, so now they want to add eye color to the profiles, right? This can be quickly be added via data modelers. So those how we Reltio can scale quickly and help our businesses. Do you have to say anything, Sri, about it, or did you see anything? No. Okay.
I think you're right on there.
Yeah. So any other question? Maybe this is other one where maybe Sri, you can also add. So what makes Reltio scalable? Because you did mention a lot of time, maybe that's why this question. What makes Reltio scalable as compared to other MDM vendors? And that's a great question, and we often get it. So Reltio is a native SaaS platform built on the big data technology to be scalable at every level, including the UIs, storage, compute, API response, and throughput. Another key part which we again talk is scaling the information related to consumer. So Reltio also enriches the profile, as you were mentioning, that profile which is from omni-channel interactions, like data coming from web clicks, purchases, returns, call center, email, etc. And then you can also stream this data to the analytic environment, such as Google BigQuery or Snowflake or Apache for the critical answers and insights. So those were the things. So do you want to add anything, Sri, on this one about scalability?
No, I think, one other, maybe sounding more tactical, but I will still mention that, one of the positives is at least like, the way we've done that is like, in terms of the total number of customers, right? On year one, the total number of entities that we know that we are anticipating in our Reltio platform, which is year two versus year three. Yeah. I mean, I've seen like, that at least to L'Oreal we've always had a particular target number or customer acquisition in our mind. And then, there is one, what really happened. So we've been able to kind of literally easily being able to scale up our Reltio platform to support additional volume. I know I keep repeating the volume part of it because that to us is very significant. And I think, that's just like in addition to everything that Swati you just mentioned, I would also, I thought, it's good for others to know that part of it is relatively easier. You choose like, let's just say 100 today and you can scale up to 200 tomorrow. That's relatively easier.
So thank you for your time, Sri. This was an inspiring journey you have shared. Thank you for it.
Thank you, everyone. Take care, Swati. Bye-bye.